F1 Academy is so easy to follow, and I don't know why there aren't more people watching it. In fact, it is so easy to follow that I'm going to tell you everything you really need to know in under 3 minutes. So the F1 Academy was launched in 2023, and it aims to develop and prepare female drivers aged 16 to 25. Seeming as the cars are modified F4 cars, the natural progression would be the F3 Championship, but also previous championship winners have got a fully funded seat to FRECA and GB3, and these are the FIA Super License points that drivers can earn from this series. The first thing that you need to know is that in 2025 there will be 7 rounds and 14 races, all of which will be support series for an F1 weekend. This is what the weekend format looks like, and new for 2025, race 1 will have a reverse grid from P1 to P8. Also, it's a spec series, which means that all 18 cars will be the same. When it comes to tyres, these are the allocations, and they have 2 compounds, dry or wet. Now there is 1 driver per car, and each driver will be part of a triplet, which is part of a team, and here are the teams. However, I will say this is the one part of F1 Academy which can make things slightly confusing, because each driver will run their own individual livery, so you can't tell which driver is part of which team whilst on the grid. But I am going to make an entirely separate video explaining how the liveries work, because I don't think you need to know how they work, but it is really exciting. And it's exciting because they bring so many opportunities, not only for the drivers, but also for fans. However, I wouldn't pick a constructor to support based on their drivers, and that's because drivers will change relatively often. This year, 11 out of 18 of the drivers will have never completed an F1 Academy season, and that's because you can only compete for 2 seasons. And even still, this season, we have seen some of the returning drivers change teams. Also, it's important to note that at each of the rounds, one of the drivers will only be seen that time during the season, and that's because they will be a wildcard entry, which means that they are a driver from the region that they're racing in who has gotten the opportunity to kind of show off their skills, and it definitely works because 4 of the drivers this year were wildcards last year. Then there are points which work very similarly to an F1 sprint race weekend. However, unlike F1 this year, they do still have the fastest lap point, but the driver does have to be in a points awarding position, and the race leader must have completed at least 50% of the race distance. Speaking of race distance, if less than 75% is completed, the points are awarded differently. There are no points if the leader has completed less than 2 laps without a safety car. Column 1 is more than 2 laps but less than 25%. Column 2 is between 25% and less than 50%. And column 3 is between 50% and less than 75%. Finally, one of the best parts of the F1 Academy is that you can watch it completely for free, and you don't have to watch it live. Look, obviously I'm going to encourage you to watch it live, but I understand that life can get really busy, especially during an F1 race weekend when there's a lot of things to be watching. But I don't want you to miss out, and I don't want them to miss out on views, because it's really important to keep series like this going. So whether you watch it live or not, you can do so on YouTube.